Hi YouTube, Blessed are the Peacekeepers here. One of the things that we wanted to talk about was how to introduce people to prepping and the whole concept and idea of it. Um, I found that if you're going to talk about it to somebody, you really have to be gentle letting them in on it. You want to use real life examples. You want to say, like for an example, you could say that we have house insurance, we've got car insurance, some of us even have boat insurance. Do you have food insurance? And they'll kind of go, well, what's that? And you can kind of get into the whole idea right there and say, look, if I ever happen to lose my job, which is a real reality in this world, I know where my next meal is coming from and I don't have to worry about it. Or you could say that, there is a real life example out there that there was a man and his wife got cancer, and because they're in the United States, you have to pay for a lot of your health care. Even in Canada, you have to pay for certain drugs. Certain agencies won't pay for certain cancer drugs, and so when you're taking that money out of your pocket, you have to get that money from somewhere. And fortunately, they had been prepping for quite some time, and that they were able to cover a lot of the cost of the drug by not having to cover the cost of groceries because they had been prepping and they had the food on hand to use. You can also bring up real life examples of, wow, you remember back in, such a day, when we were snowed in for like 3 days and the roads were closed and, did you happen to have enough water and food on hand? Were you okay? I really want to make sure that doesn't happen again. So, I've prepared a little bit. And you can bring up there was a blackout in the Northeast in the late 2000s. I can't remember what year it was anymore. But, there was 3 days with no power for some people. Some people had it for, 5 days up in Ontario here that there was simply no hydro. There's ice storms. There's forest fires. I mean, if right now in Ontario, Canada, there it was a couple of forest fires near some towns, Kirkland Lake and Timmins, and they actually had to do evacuations of some of these places. And could you say to your friend, wow, this natural disaster is going on up here, and if you had to evacuate today, like if a train crashed nearby and they spilled chemicals all over the tracks, if you had to leave in 5 minutes, would you be able to leave with everything that you needed in the house in 5 minutes? Would you have all your documents? Would you have, your clothes for 3 days? Would you have your supply of money so that you can go rent a hotel room? Um, Things like that. Just take it in little baby steps and just introduce the conversation. A lot of people are just not interested. They're not. But there are other people who are going, I've never really thought of it that way before, and they are interested in taking the next step. So I find if you take it in little baby steps like that, it helps a lot. And yes, some people you can't get through at this moment, and you'll have to wait a little further down the road for something to happen specifically in their life. And yes, it might be a little too late. But if there are people that you feel are important in your life, then you might want to set aside things for them as well in your own prepping, because hopefully they'll come to you and you will be prepared for all of you.